Hello and welcome to another Useful Byte tutorial on using the AnyView application. Today's tutorial is going to cover creating 3D images from scratch using a couple of images I downloaded from NASA. The first thing we want to do is just click New Document in the default window and click the OK button. We're going to use the default settings here, 1200 by 1500 with 150 dpi at 18 views with 40 LPI. This will create an 8 by 10 image. So I'm going to hit the OK button, and the window will pop up showing you the new document area. The next thing I'm going to do is go to the File menu and select Import Bitmap to Layer. This will allow us to load one of the images. The first image I'm going to select is the Hawaii image. It's a picture of Hawaii from space, and I'm going to hit Open. It will position at the top left of the corner of the image to the document. Then I'm going to select Hawaii layer in the timeline palette and open the layer palette. And I'm going to set the left to -900 and the top to -200. This centers the Hawaii image over the document area and gives us lots of extra room for parallax when we shift it into the background. The next thing I'm going to do is go to the File menu again and import bitmap to layer again. And this time I'm going to select the astronaut and hit Open. I'm going to select the astronaut in the timeline and go to the palette. Layer palette, and I'm going to set the left of the astronaut to -150 and -100. This also centers the astronaut within the document area. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is close the layer palette, open the document palette, and click the bitmaps tab. In here, you'll see both bitmaps that I've loaded. I'm going to go ahead and double click the astronaut, which will open the bitmap editor. We're going to go ahead and knock this and mask him out around so he shows over the earth and looks like he's floating. So because this image has such light colors, I'm going to use the black background instead of the pattern background so we can clearly see if we've missed any spots as we're painting the mask. So I'm going to select the paintbrush tool, and I have a clear and solid. Clear will mask out the area, and solid will paint it right back in, because this creates a layer mask. You don't actually damage the image or paint it away, you're just creating a mask for it. The next thing I'm going to do is select a brush size of, say, 60 pixels. And I'm just going to quickly, in the interest of time, go around and mask this astronaut out very quickly. If you hold Shift as you click, it will go from your last click to your current position and create a straight line. And this helps you to quickly mask around images and things without having to just drag the paintbrush with a steady hand. Many of you will know this function from other applications. I'm using a hard edge brush, but if you have something like hair or cloth or something that needs to have a soft edge, you can certainly use a soft edge brush and smaller brushes to mask those things out and make them look natural. But since the suit here has a hard edge, and I'm just trying to do this quickly, I'm going to use the hard edge brush all the way through. Now that I've got the basic mask knocked out, I'm going to go to a smaller brush size, say 30 pixels, and knock out the inside of the arm in the same way that I did the rest of the body. And a smaller brush still, and get between the fingers. And between the legs here. and up here above the arm. All right, now I'm going to switch to a much larger, actually let me get this fingertip here. And go to a slightly smaller brush, 10 pixels, and get these areas here. All right, now I'm going to switch to a much larger brush, 250 pixels or so, and I'm just going to quickly knock out the rest of the image so that when I go back into the main editor, he appears to be floating over the earth. As I said, you can do much more detail to this. In the interest of time here, I'm just doing it quickly. Switch back to a 100 pixel brush and get these last few little places. The black allows you to see any little stragglers you leave. And now that I'm finished, I'm going to hit OK and go back to the main editor. You'll see my astronauts now floating over the Earth. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new bitmap, and I'm going to use this bitmap to create a depth map with the gradient tool that makes the astronaut seem like he's up close with his helmet and goes further into the distance with his legs. So I'm going to create the bitmap the exact same size as the astronaut, which is going to be 1506 by 1500, 150 dpi, same way. And I hit OK. And now I'm going to double click the new bitmap image and go into the editor, and I'm going to take the gradient tool, which automatically gives me a black at the left and a white at the right. And white's going to be near and black's going to be far. So I'll start at the bottom and I'll drag upward to about where the top of the astronaut's helmet is, let go, and hit the gradiate button. It'll process for a few moments and then create a gradation of black at the bottom to white at the top. And once it's complete, I'll just hit the OK button. And now we have a new bitmap image with a gradient in it that we will use to define the depth of the astronaut. So I'll select the astronaut again, close the document palette, open the layer palette, and in the depth area here, I will click the pull down button and pull down to new bitmap image, and it will set that gradient there. And then I will set the near parallax to 150 pixels and the far parallax to 100 pixels. Then I'll select the Hawaii layer and I will set its flat parallax to negative 250 pixels. Now I will close the layer palette and open the view palette and click the play button. This will automatically generate frames. And as you can see, the astronaut's helmet is moving farther than his legs. And if I click the palindrome button and hit play again, it will go back and forth. And this will allow you to see 3D or shows that you have 3D on the internet or something if you'd like to export the frames as a GIF. So stop, and now if you'll place your anaglyph glasses on, I'll click the anaglyph button here, and you'll be able to see the 3D in the scene. I'll just leave it up here for a few moments. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to save this document, save as. I'll call it Astro Scene. Save it onto my desktop. And that's it. So this shows you how to create a 3D scene from scratch using the images I downloaded from NASA off the internet. From here you can render or export animated GIFs or whatever you like with the 3D scene. Thank you for taking the time to view my tutorial. Have a good day.